It is virtually impossible to do away with those kinds of people who fear you because of your potential and the promise your future foreshadows. Of course, more often than not, this fear is expressed as anger or hatred or envy. Expect, therefore, resistance to come from your very own family, just as it was for Abel and Joseph. Expect your colleagues or workmates next. The moment your peers will have an inkling about how possibly bright or wonderful your future can turn out to be, there will be mixed reactions. Some will look at you as their competition. They will be competitive. Others will envy you for the reason that your future might be brighter than theirs. Yet others will be uneasy at the fact that a positive change in your well-being could bring about a shift within the status quo of your relationships. Some will be proud of you and will be willing to help you through what you are doing. That's how it was for David, whose chief enemy was King Saul. But David, ironically, found encouragement from Saul's own son, Jonathan. In truth, it's impossible to shake off these kinds of people from your life completely. What we can do, however, is to understand them so that we can learn to deal with them long before they can utterly destroy us. And by God's grace, we will do this today. So, the question is simple. How do you know who is for you or against you? And how are you to relate with them henceforth? Take, for instance, Cain and Abel. Both came before the Lord with sacrifices, but God was only pleased with Abel's. While Abel's offerings demonstrated his gratitude for the well-being of his flock, on the most part, so that you will know, the sacrifice was a bargain with God. Abel was offering to God the best parts of his flock in order to secure God's favor for the coming seasons. Abel's foresight into the future, his desire to intentionally mold it into his liking, is what set him apart from his brother. For us, Abel demonstrates that the future is as good as the extent to which you are willing to engage with God, and that your sacrifices are proof of your commitment to the arrangement between you two. On the other hand, Cain's offerings were poor. They demonstrated a poor attitude and an indifference towards the future and God's part in it. Yet, he became wrathful when God accepted Abel's offerings over his. Cain is the kind of person who is ungrateful of God's help and is not willing to put any effort into making his future better. Cain demonstrates that the future is desperate to the extent that you are unwilling to engage with God, and your poor sacrifices and slovenly work are proof of it. Because of this, Cain killed Abel. But dear brothers and sisters, God today assures you that we need not die before we come to our promised land. But we need to know how to relate with such people as Cain. Fortunately for us, the answer is simple. Be wise when you are around such people, just as David did. When he discovered that Saul was bent on killing him, the Bible says David exercised extreme caution around him. The Bible even says the wise see trouble from afar and take steps to avoid it. So beware people who do not share your zeal, your principles, or your vision. Beware them who are threatened by your work ethic, your commitment, your excellence, and your love for hard work. Be careful about people who do not appreciate the concept of delayed gratification. Unlike you, they do not care for the future, nor do they care to work for it. Their objective is in the here and now. They want today what they should work hard for to get tomorrow. They do not have the patience of doing one small thing at a time in order to build themselves a greater future. With such people, if you can help it, do not even share your plans and hopes. They will only mock you and laugh at you because everything you are doing that they are not is foolishness in their sight, and they will make sure you know it. They will throw everything at you to derail your progress forward. They will do so because they are afraid of you and what you may accomplish or become in the future. Avoid them or they will put you down. At least they will try. So be prepared for a long and lonely walk to your future blessings and prosperity. Your detractors may be your kin or colleagues, but once you understand what kind of people they are, you need to be cautious around them. If you fail to do so, you will be crushed by their negative energy. They will throw challenges upon challenges at you. They will bicker. They will complain. They will say all kinds of lies about you. They will scheme night and day to bring you down, and they will love it. They will attempt to destroy your credibility or sully your integrity. And if you will give in, they will never let you forget just how foolish you are trying something new. And your life will forever remain the same. As for me, I'd rather lose all my family and friends than despise myself for being a coward. I will commit to everything that can change my present situation into something better in the future. I'd rather fail after trying out everything than try out nothing and therefore never know whether I could have succeeded. I'd rather I was laughed at for my misfires than hating myself for never having tried anything new. A friend of mine shared with me just how frustrated he felt in his work environment. It turns out that he is pursuing further studies in a place where such things are generally frowned upon. His colleagues, most of whom are in positions of greater influence, authority, and power, have never progressed beyond technical training, but he has, and they do not like it. So they repay him with the tough conditions at work. He told me, for instance, how board or staff meetings were being used to target him because his particular division was at times behind quota. Now, he told me everybody knew that it was an open secret that his transfer to his current position was orchestrated for the purposes of frustrating him. He told me that everybody knew that his division was one of the toughest to work in that company or organization, and that since his posting there, it had begun to show positive growth, better than previously anticipated. Finally, everyone knew that he works twice as much as everybody else, that he comes in earliest and walks out latest every day, that he even worked on weekends and holidays in order to meet the demands of his job. However, in spite of all of this, his reports continued to be shot down or shot at, and while he tried to explain his improvements, his bosses and colleagues refused to see this. So they'd argue and complain to get him worked up. And when they succeeded, they would point out that he was disrespectful towards them. And they would hold it over him in order to humiliate him. He had tried to leave, but there were no job openings available at the time. And now he was afraid that they would use whatever excuse to fire him, even though until then they had not. Now, if you are in a similar situation, I encourage you to continue pursuing excellence. This is why I love the story of Joseph. Joseph, as a slave and as a prisoner, kept on doing his best without compromise, no matter how tough his circumstances became. And God made sure that his ordained future came to pass. So here are a number of pointers that I hope will help you in your situation. Number one, again, commit to excellence. Work hard and become indispensable. No matter how much they hate you, they are not willing to let go of a hard worker. Speak less about yourself, speak lesser about your dreams and your efforts to achieve them. Speak only that which is relevant to the situation at hand. Do your best to master your emotions, no matter how much you feel it is and how many times you fail. You must learn to be mindful about what you say and do, for any wrong word or action done in the heat of the moment may never be forgotten or forgiven, and they will always hold it over you and against you. So simple, be agenda driven. Don't look for sympathizers among them. Don't even look pathetic. On the other hand, because you will need a sympathetic ear, look for similarly minded people outside your job space, even if you find them in WhatsApp, YouTube, or Facebook. Just look for them. You're not the only one out there feeling the way you do. 5, keep your eyes on the prize. Do not quit. Quitters never win. Do not stop. Stoppers never finish. And then expect a divine turnaround. There will be a divine turnaround. That is the moment when the scales will begin to tip into your favor, when it will be obvious that your hard work and divine favor have caught up with you for the better. From that moment on, I declare to you, there will be more smiling and laughter on your part than weeping and mourning. One day, the same people who looked down on you will look up to you with pride. It is amazing just how your enemies forget how miserable they made your life. God bless you.